Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Yes, indeed. It is time. It's Wrestling Uncensored time. We're previewing WWE's Bash in Berlin. Yes, indeed. Where are we? Whoa.
Made it black.
Hey,
Welcome back.
hey, Johnny. I need to fade out before we fade it in. We need to get prepared. How are we? How is it all going?
Not bad. Just had to remind myself again today that SmackDown was taped tonight, and PLE tomorrow is at 1 p.m. Eastern.
You have to remind yourself that it was taped tonight. Why'd you have to remind yourself it was taped? I mean, I knew it was taped because it was in Berlin, so they did it this afternoon, which is nighttime over there. Like they're doing it tomorrow afternoon, which is nighttime over there because they're a few hours ahead. Don't ask me how many. It's impossible to know. But, I mean, did you get spoiled on the show? Did you have to avoid going online to catch spoilers? I didn't see anything. I wasn't spoiled on SmackDown tonight. It was as if it was a live broadcast for me.
Well, no, it's because my Sportsnet app wasn't working. It just kept saying error, error, error all the time. I wasn't able to watch SmackDown. But thankfully, because SmackDown was taped, it's already on YouTube. If you look hard enough, you can actually find the whole SmackDown episode. So I just watched it like that instead.
Why was your app not working?
Because it's Sportsnet, and it likes not to work sometimes.
Wow. I just have it on TV. I watched it on Fox. I watch it on Fox every week. I like it that way.
That's a good idea. Well, you won't be able to do that after a little bit, right? It's going to be off in 2 weeks, right?
Where's it going to be then? Sportsnet? I'll have to watch it on Sportsnet?
I think only Sportsnet, because in the States, it'll only be on USA.
I've got all the Sportsnets, though. It'll be on TV for me. I don't need no app to depend on.
You'll be okay. You have television. You'll survive.
Got good old-fashioned cable TV. Not a lot of people have cable TV anymore, John, but I like it. You know why? Because it's dependable. Sometimes these apps, you pay for this, you pay for that, the app doesn't work, you can't stream this, you can't stream that, and all of a sudden, you're out of luck, you can't watch SmackDown. And in our line of business here on the Ringside Report Network, I can't afford to miss a Raw or miss a SmackDown or have it not recorded or not there for me. It's got to be there. So I try to, that's one of the main reasons I have cable TV. So I can make sure I see all the Dynamites, all the shows, right? I get them recorded, and I watch them a lot of the time on my phone afterwards. Got the app for the cable TV. Tremendous. I can access my recordings from my TV anywhere on my phone. Super nice. I'm not going to tell you which cable company I'm using. I'm just saying I'm very happy with the TV service I'm getting. Tremendous, John. It's not Bell. That's for damn sure.
Well, I'm happy with the age that we live in, that I could watch SmackDown an hour before it ended when you watched it. So that's nice that we live in that kind of world these days.
What a world we live in. It's a magical world where the WWE is doing PLEs all over the place. They have been everywhere this year. They're going to France. They're going to other places. Canada, Saudi Arabia, and now Berlin, Germany, in case you were wondering. And it's a big show, headlined, I believe, by Gunther and Randy Orton. I think that will be the main event, but Johnny, I'm sure, will. I think he's going to disagree. I think he's going to say Cody and Kevin will be the main event. What do you think is going to close the show, John? Gunther or Cody?
Yeah, I go with Gunther. I think Cody will probably start, actually.
Wow. Oh, I'm surprised. Because you usually say, oh, no, WWE Championship, it's Cody, he's got to close the show. Why the change of thought here?
Well, because where it's at, right?
Yeah.
Like Gunther, it's this big, like, even though he's not from Germany, like they kind of treat him like he's his own, I guess, there. So they already gave him a huge pop, I guess, on the kickoff yesterday, or today, actually. And I expect that to be the main event. I think Cody and Kevin, it's a face-for-face match. I mean, people will like it, but I think that's opener.
It's a big match. I thought the promo they did tonight on SmackDown was very good. We'll talk about it. Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley taking on Dirty Dominic and Liv Morgan. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. And Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defending their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the former champions. I want to give a shout out to everybody checking us out in the chat. I see Harold Schneider dropping us a super chat. He says, I have Bell Express for you. Works great. Have had it for many years. Oh, there you go. He's happy with his Bell service. I don't use Bell on principle for anything. Pardon me.
Satellite. Not many people have satellite anymore.
Yeah, I didn't know they still had satellite.
Well, that's nice, though.
Good for you, Harold.
I used to have it.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network.
Dave's staying alive.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Jason Pete out in Mexico checking us out. What's up, Jason? Supporting over at join.ringsidereport.net, as has Harold, as has Leor. He says, wrestling question for Johnny. There's a question from Leor, Johnny. How does Nia Jax and Yokozuna, how do they reduce their impact on their opponent when doing the bonsai drop? It always looks so painful.
Yeah, did we watch tonight? Yikes. Tonight looked...
She didn't hold back.
Well, I guess because there was the garbage can, right? I don't know if we want to get into it now or all that, but that's how the finish went down. So I guess maybe she thought, oh, the garbage can's there to protect her a little bit. If anything, that looked more devastating because of the garbage can. But usually what Yoko would do is holding the ropes on a little bit, so it kind of takes away from the fall. Some of the guys, enhancement guys, he would just completely kill, if you see on some of those videos, but those are people he didn't like. So that's how you usually protect yourself, is you still have the hands on the rope, and you make the big jump, but you still have the hands on the rope, so it kind of breaks the fall a little bit.
A lot of times he'd land on his feet first and then drop.
That too. Right.
Right.
Well, he was an athlete too. He was a good athlete.
Yeah, Nia not quite as athletic as the late great Yokozuna. We can talk about the match, John, while we're here, because the match was kind of nuts. It was the main event of SmackDown. It was Nia Jax and Michin in a street fight for the SmackDown Women's title. What do they call it? Is that the WWE Women's Championship or the World? No, that's the WWE Women's Championship, right? The other one is the Women's World title, the one on Raw?
That's right.
Okay, so this is the whatever. This is the SmackDown Women's belt, really. Let's be honest. Cody has a SmackDown World title, and Gunther has the Raw one at this point. So they're wrestling. It's a street fight, and it was pretty wild. It was kind of messy. At one point, Michin did this like Hurricane Rana thing where Nia's head was like through the second rope, and she planted Nia pretty hard. It was rough looking.
It looked
you know
awkward.
What I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It looked very awkward because it looked like the side of her face landed first.
Yeah. What'd you think of the match, John? It was pretty rough. You know, the finish was kind of nuts. I guess we'll get into the finish, and we'll get your thoughts on the match. Michin powerbombs Nia off the top rope through a table, and then Tiffany Stratton shows up. She's got the money in the bank. She hits Michin with the briefcase, and it looks like she's maybe thinking about cashing in, but Nia kind of looks at her like, oh, why are you cashing in on me? We're friends. And then Tiffany hits Michin again with the case and puts Nia on Michin to kind of pin her, but it's only a 2 count. So Tiffany deciding to help Nia at that point. And then Bayley showed up, Bayley returning for the first time since SummerSlam. She takes out Tiffy Time. And then Nia just grabs Michin. Samoan drops the hell out of her through a table in one corner. That Samoan drop was like, oh, damn.
Could have finished it with that.
Yeah. And then she just drags her from one corner all the way to the other, which is unusual. she puts a garbage can on her head. So she's lying there looking up at the lights, but she can't see anything because she's just got a garbage can covering half of her body because she's not that tall and the garbage cans are big. And then Nia does this giant bonsai drop, jumping off the second rope, squashing poor Michin. And the garbage can is crushed. It looked like the can was crushed so hard that Michin couldn't get out because it was like stuck around her. And then Nia pins her and then grabs, what was that she threw at her? A piece of wood from the table?
Yeah, piece of the table, yeah.
She throws a piece of the table at the garbage can, and then she grabs a kendo stick. She starts bashing the garbage can with a kendo stick. The referee has to kind of grab her and push her away and be like, "Whoa, chill." And holds her, and then Nia's like, "Get my belt, give me my belt." And he gives her a belt, and she holds her hand up, and that was the match. That's how SmackDown ended. I feel like Nia was a little reckless with Michin there in the finish. It's not the first time she's been like that. I mean, Bayley, in the lead up to the match with Nia, was calling her reckless in a promo. And now we see this match with Michin and just how she treated her while she was in the garbage can. Your opponent is blinded. They're giving you their body, and you do that to them. John, you're a pro wrestler. What do you think, man? If somebody did that to you, how would you feel?
Well, it looked painful. I mean, hopefully she's okay, Michin. Like, I thought they should have made this a bigger deal than what they actually did, because the referee just rolled out of the ring. They should have had, like, a medical team on staff right there, because they could have sold the hell out of this thing. This looked extremely devastating, even if she's okay. Like, it looked so rough the way that went down. They could have made an angle out of this, and I think it's a wasted opportunity, to be honest. Now, if she's really hurt, there'd be a talking to afterwards. We'd have to have a huge talk, because you're putting your whole body on the line, and you kind of almost ended my career right there. That's what it looked like. Possibly. Again, they could have played this up so much more than what they actually did.
It was rough. It was rough. It was quite a match, though. It was something.
All right, it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I mean, again, like you said, a little like rough around the edges a little bit. Like, I think Michin had some problems like bringing the table in and then setting up, and then she couldn't find something at one point. Again, these matches can get a little scattered, and you kind of get lost a little bit in the moment. So if you don't have the thing set up properly, because she needed that trash can out for her to put her in it afterwards, a lot had to happen. And I guess you need all the items right where you need them. This is where you need. She came out like New Jack to start the match.
Yeah.
Like, just throw it all in the ring, just so it's all there, so that you don't have to worry about it afterwards.
Yeah. Came in with a grocery cart full of weapons, did Michin to this match. It was something. Is it your match of the night on SmackDown? It feels weird. Carmelo Hayes and Andrade had a hell of a match tonight too.
I like that match. I didn't like the finish though. I thought very good match, but exposed turnbuckle right in front of the referee. They do this all the time, and there's never a disqualification. That should be a disqualification.
Why?
But because exposed buckle, that's illegal.
Disagree.
You can't. No. Why do you disagree?
Because he didn't expose the buckle on purpose. If you expose the buckle on purpose and then use the exposed buckle as a weapon, that's a disqualification. But from what I remember in all the matches that I've seen, is that if the buckle is exposed accidentally, it's up to the referee. I'm pretty sure Gorilla Monsoon taught me this lesson, John. It's up to the referee to put the buckle back on, and if he doesn't, then it's on him if it is incidentally used in the match. No disqualification on that.
It wasn't an accident that it was
It's
used.
like if you wear a weight belt into the match and the referee, when he checks you for weapons, he allows you to have that weight belt on while you wrestle. If you pull off that weight belt like Hollywood Hulk Hogan would do, you could whip your opponent with that weight belt, and that's not a disqualification because he had it on him, and it's the referee's fault. It's his own fault. Sometimes bad referees in pro wrestling, it's their own fault. They get exposed, John.
So you're blaming Charles Robinson for this?
Little Nature's fault for that, yeah.
I don't think it was an accident the way he pulled that off and shoved his head into the exposed
Well, no, it was the
buckle.
planned finish. I'm just saying, I don't think that's you can't blame Charles Robinson for a planned finish that included an illegal tactic. That's not his fault. He didn't book the match, John. Let's be real.
Right.
I'm just saying, in pro wrestling, I think a lot of times, they let that go.
Again, they can come up with better finishes, I think. And they're unfortunately being kind of lazy with their finishes.
Okay.
Besides that, I thought that match was great. It was probably the match of SmackDown, I think.
Mm-hmm. I liked the Nia Jax match. I thought it was cool, it was interesting. But, yeah, Carmelo and Andrade athletically, what they did was super impressive. Very good match tonight on SmackDown. I saw some talk. We can talk about Nikki Bella, I guess, a little bit later. I don't want to break into that now. It's just sad stuff right now. We'll talk about her when we talk about Bryan Danielson. I got something to say about Bryan Danielson that's going to make it all tie together. Remind me of that, Johnny, if I forget, because you know me. Sometimes I forget. LA Knight cut a promo at the beginning of the show tonight in Berlin, and the crowd was hot for LA Knight, right? Super hot. They love LA Knight. He goes, hey, I'm in Berlin. It's been so long since we've had a big show here. You guys are ready, and the crowd is loving him. They love it. And he goes, oh, I defended this title. In Washington, D.C. last week, the capital of America. And they're like, boo. And he's like, no, don't boo now. Tonight I'm defending it here, the capital of Germany, Berlin. And then they give a big pop. And he's like, open challenge, anybody out there, come on out. And then Ludwig Kaiser comes out, who's actually German. He speaks German. He talks about how he's German. And the crowd loves him and then immediately turns on LA Knight. It was pretty cool to see. The crowd was doing Ludwig Kaiser chants during the promo. Ludwig Kaiser. Like, you don't see that in any other place in the world. These guys were loving their boy, Germany's own, Ludwig Kaiser. He said he was going to take the European title, or take the U.S. title, rather, from LA Knight and make it the European title. LA Knight called him Gunther's stooge. They had a match. I thought the match was all right. LA winds up beating Ludwig, though. Poor Germany. They didn't get a victory this time. They lost with their Ludwig, man. BFT, U.S. Championship, remains in America, where it belongs, damn it. I was like, watching this, and I was like, ooh, this is like they're doing like Germany versus America here, and it's in Germany, and the Germans are cheering for the German, and I'm like, I want LA Knight to win this. I was like, if it's a battle between Germany and America, I'm picking America 10 times out of 10. Historically, it's the right side.
Well, I thought it was a good match overall. Again, finish, not the greatest. It just comes out of nowhere. He hits the BFT, and that's it. I mean, all right match, just it kind of just ends out of nowhere. Not a match you'll look back on a couple years from now and say, wow, what a great match.
Promo,
it's a match
though,
that
was
everyone's
good. The reaction, I thought, in the promo was better than the actual match.
I didn't think Kaiser would get such a great reaction. I understand, like, he's from Germany and all that, but still, like, he hasn't been really shown that much. Like, he's only on Raw, so, like, and he's more of a sidekick. So for him to get that kind of reaction, wow. Well, it shows you how passionate the fan base are. And I think they really like the idea, even though it wasn't going to happen. You kind of knew when he said he'd turn into the European title. But it's a nice thought that he put out there. I think people enjoyed that idea.
Also, if you think about Germany and the history of German wrestling on a global stage, as far as guys representing for their country in the WWE, the biggest company in the history of pro wrestling, right? I don't think we're going to argue that WWE is the biggest company in pro wrestling history at this point.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Yep. So, who have they had ever representing for them?
That's a good point. Interesting, yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
The fact that Wade Barrett, I think, tonight on SmackDown was like, Germany's had some wrestlers like Alex Wright, also known as Berlin. And it was like, yeah, wasn't that like his dark gimmick in WCW? Didn't they call him Berlin, but like spelled different with a Y or something?
With a Y, yeah. It was a weird gimmick, too.
And that was brought up on SmackDown tonight when they were talking about Germany. And I was like, really? You're bringing up Alex Wright? And Das Wunderkind, I mean, if you think about German wrestling on a big stage, it's Alex Wright, and then it's, Gunther and Kaiser. And Gunther is not even German. He's Austrian. But it's close enough that they kind of, But Ludwig Kaiser, I'm not surprised they were passionate for him. He is the biggest, probably the biggest money-earning, German-born professional wrestler of all time.
And if not, he's on his way. I don't know how much Alex Wright was making WCW. He was there for a while, too. So, yeah, but Kaiser's on his way.
And they paid WCW paid stupid money for people, so it's possible. But it was the 90s. You got to adjust for inflation. I don't know. But, I mean, in the WWE, which is, Alex Wright was only in WCW. WWE didn't pick him up for the invasion. They're like, you can stay in Germany, bro. He basically disappeared after WCW. But Ludwig Kaiser is the only German wrestler the WWE has ever really had.
Well, I imagine there was probably people in development, though. We just never saw them.
Right.
It just never worked out.
Right. But as far as getting to the main roster, you know what I mean? And we can go back, we can think back of all the wrestlers and all the guys. I mean, they've had people from a lot of different countries. I can't think of a single German other than Kaiser. Maybe guys that were born in Germany and then, grew up in the States type of thing, a military thing or whatever. I mean, that's possible. I don't know. Like, wasn't Bobby Lashley born somewhere?
I know Kane was, born in Spain, wasn't he?
Right. I don't know.
So there might be some tricky ones like that might be getting past us.
Oh, no. Bobby Lashley was born in Kansas. He was not born anywhere.
No, but I think you're mixing up with Kane, how Kane was born in Spain.
Kane from Spain. Yes, he was born in Spain. Look at you. Yeah, so that happens once in a while where, you're born on a military base in some other country. But I'm talking about actually German, grew up in Germany, German parents. Ludwig Kaiser is the only one. He's representing for them, so it's no surprise that they're going bananas for him on SmackDown. I thought it was cool for them to have that moment. And like the fact that they went to Germany and they have this guy and they brought him out for this match, it was kind of a special moment to start SmackDown. The match was, what it was, because I think the German fans realized, well, Ludwig's not beating LA Knight. They probably watched the product and realized, at this point, it doesn't make sense. But they were really happy to see their guy.
All right, it's good for them. It's great. It's great for them. It's great that they got that moment. I mean, you don't always get those moments. Sometimes you'll get that moment, like in a dark match. I think Gunther did wrestle on SmackDown, but it was in a dark match against, was it Ilya? I think he wrestled Ilya tonight.
Oh, wow. Gunther going all out.
Well, give him something more. They don't always get these kind of shows back to back, right? So give him something.
Yeah. All Out is next week. Sorry. All Out is a AEW thing. He's not going there.
Yeah, I just want to make that correction because you said that last night you don't have a weekend off. Like, you actually do not have a weekend off.
Oh, yeah, it's All Out next weekend.
That's right.
Shit!
You get no weekends off at all.
I don't. I really don't. I am tired as hell. This is crazy. Okay, well, Gunther is going to wrestle Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin tomorrow afternoon. If Orton wins the championship, he will be transferred to Raw, and Gunther will be transferred to SmackDown.
That's the deal?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Switcheroo. So SmackDown's got to be hoping. You know, if I'm Brutus Magnus, the general manager of SmackDown, I'm sending like 15 guys to help Randy win. So you can get Gunther. But then you lose Randy, which is probably not so good, right? Stay out of it, Brutus Magnus. Brutus Magnus! Stay out of it! Brutus. What's his name? Nick Aldis? Nick Aldis. It never comes to me. You see, John, it happened again, where I see the guy in my mind and I go, what's his name again? Brutus Magnus? First name I know him as in TNA. It's always going to stick. Can't shake it. Every time I see him, I go, hey, it's Brutus Magnus. What's the GM of SmackDown got to say? Why is that big, jacked guy the GM of SmackDown? Can't he still wrestle? Why is he just the GM of SmackDown? What's happening there?
Well, they put over all this a bit this week, though. Well, Mike Cole, like you said, he's the good GM.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're making like him the face and the other one the heel, like Pierce the heel.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, why do they hire him to be the GM? It's still weird to me. Anyways, let's get to this pay-per-view thing, John. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be on right after the show, right?
Whenever it ends, I guess at 4?
I think around 4.
5?
I think around 4. I think it'll be 3 hours. It's a 5-match card. 3 hours tops, I'd say. We'll be on at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Gunther versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. I got Gunther winning, obviously. I think the match will be really good. I think the build has been good. I think this match makes a lot of sense with the way Gunther beat Randy for the King of the Ring with Randy's shoulder up on the pin and the ref not seeing it. It's so good the way that it's all come back full circle. It almost makes me wonder if they did it on purpose at King of the Ring. Did he have his shoulder up on purpose?
I think it's too much to say that was on purpose because it looks so bad. I think they had to do something about it. But they're making something out of it, so that's good. I think Gunther retains too. It's like his first defense, but it's a good match for him. We've talked about this before. Randy's a big-time name, and that's good for Gunther to start his reign being a important guy. Like, that's what's kind of been hurting Cody a little bit. He hasn't had big-time opponents.
AJ Styles?
Yeah, but was AJ in the title mix? Like, was he like considered like, oh, you gotta watch out for AJ at the time? No. Randy's always dangerous.
It's like AJ was only brought in to wrestle Cody. Where's he been since?
Japan?
What's up with that? It's weird.
I don't know what to tell you. They got nothing for AJ. That's the problem. But at least Randy, they always have something.
And this is a huge match for Gunther. You are 100% correct. To get Randy Orton in front of this crowd as a big first title defense, main eventing this show in Berlin, it's going to be massive for Gunther. Massive. Another star-making moment for the great Gunther. He deserves it. He's fantastic. And it's fine for Randy because it's a one and done. It's a short stint on Raw. You can take some time off afterwards, or you can go back to SmackDown immediately and start something new, and you're still Randy Orton. You lose absolutely nothing by dropping to Gunther 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. I don't think Randy loses a damn thing by losing to Gunther. He puts Gunther over. Randy's still a legend. Randy's still Randy. he can go to SmackDown and all is forgotten. It's not like he's got to then start at the bottom of the ladder on Raw again. He can go over to SmackDown and be Cody's next opponent easily. Easily. And it fits right in because Randy and Kevin Owens were real tight, and Cody was kind of with them. Randy moves over to Raw to start feuding with Gunther. All of a sudden, Cody picks a fight with Kevin Owens. When Randy comes back to SmackDown, what does he think about all that's gone on between Cody and Kevin? Especially after the match, like, you know, Randy figures into that whole program still. So losing to Gunther on Raw doesn't really matter to Randy because he could still slide right over to SmackDown and be involved in the main event program with Cody Rhodes, who is arguably the top star in the whole company. Right?
Well, I agree that we need Cody versus Randy. That should have happened before. So the fact that we waited for it's fine, but that eventually should happen. However, Solo cut that promo on SmackDown tonight, so it feels like it's going to be Solo against Cody again at Bad Blood.
Yeah, Solo wants more of Cody. He wants revenge. He wants the belt. And then when is this tag team match that Solo was talking about? I thought it was going to be tonight on SmackDown. I wasn't clear on... He was like, we're going to defend the belts against DIY, but it's not in Bash in Berlin. It's not... What is it next week on SmackDown? What's the...
I think it's either next week or it's going to be the first episode on USA Network, I think.
So he didn't say?
He just said it's going to happen.
Yeah, which made me think it was going to happen tonight on SmackDown. And then when I saw Nia Jax and Michin still wrestling at 9:52, I was like, man, I guess this DIY match isn't happening. I was waiting for it. Didn't happen. Like, Germany doesn't get the bloodline at all? They don't get Roman. Roman's back, but not really. You know, he got taken out by the bloodline a couple weeks ago, and now, like, he's gone for a little while. Solo and the boys, they didn't even make the trip over to Germany. What's up with that?
Yeah, not everyone's going to make the trip. So I think they just got the promo overseas, and that's it. And it's good for Jacob Fatu. He gets to heal up, not worry too much. Apparently, he doesn't wear the boot anymore, so that's good. And you want the bloodline completely healthy, because if you're going to have that whole old bloodline versus new bloodline match, you want them all ready.
Where's Jimmy Uso?
We got time, don't worry.
Yeah.
We got a lot of time for them all to come back.
We need James Uso back. We need him. Okay. So, speaking of Cody and Kevin Owens had an interesting promo tonight, and they have had an interesting run leading into their WWE title match. Cody kind of pushed Kevin into this match, saying, hey, let's have a match. I want to give you a title shot. And Kevin saying, no, we're friends, and I haven't won a lot of matches. I don't really deserve a title match. And then they went to Nick Aldis and kind of tricked Kevin into accepting the match. And Kevin didn't really want this match, but Cody's pushing for it. And remember that, because that's important, I think. When talking about this promo and what was said, Kevin talks about Cody, how he has hurt his knee during this European tour. He says, I know you hurt your knee, Cody, so you're not going into this match 100%. Cody is denying the injury. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. I'm going into this match 100%. And Cody says, Kevin, were you going to turn on me last week when I had my back turned? It looked like you were about to attack me, but then I turned around and it was all good. And Kevin says, no, I wouldn't turn my back. I wouldn't attack you, Cody. I have no reason to turn on you. All the people that I turned on in the past, like Sami Zayn and Sami Zayn. Who else did he turn on? Chris Jericho, right?
Kofi.
Kofi. They all deserved it except Kofi. He reiterated tonight that Kofi didn't deserve it. And he apologized because Kofi is the best. And he apologized to Kofi once again. But those other guys deserved it, and he's got no reason to attack Cody. And Cody says, oh, okay, so you're not mad that I went out in 2015 and 2016 and I walked through some of the doors that you walked through and I started a revolution and I get all the credit and you don't get any of the credit because you deserve some because Kevin was the one who kind of introduced Cody to the Young Bucks, and I don't know. Kevin is friends with a lot of the AEW guys, and I guess Cody feels he deserves some credit, and Kevin says, no, that's not so. I'm not mad about that, Cody. I don't know where you're coming from with that. I don't really know. I don't know how else Kevin was involved in helping start a revolution, like Cody said, starting AEW, other than, Cody was friends with Kevin, and Kevin made the introduction to Cody and the Bucks, which started, everything. So there is that. He made an introduction. He facilitated that relationship.
Well, and Cody's right. Like, he visited all of Kevin's old stomping grounds. He went to Ring of Honor. He went to probably other indie feds that Kevin went to. Probably exactly.
Yeah. He went to places that Kevin had kind of laid the foundation at. Kevin and many others. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, right? Samoa Joe.
But that's it. Kevin's kind of just been where he's at. And it's been like that for the last couple of years. Like, yes, you have that Universal title reign, but that was 7 years ago now? Like, he hasn't been a champion for so long. He hasn't been on top for so long, and he's just kind of in there. He's had great matches, had great feuds, but he hasn't been the guy. And Cody 100% is right. Like, he just came back and went right past him. Even when he had the moment with Austin, he still zoomed right past him.
It was a good promo from Cody. It was a good promo from Kevin. And Kevin saying, I know you're hurt, Cody. You don't need to act like you're hurt. Like you're not hurt. Because I'm going to beat you, and I don't want you to make any excuses. And Cody's saying, are you trying to get out of this match again? Are you trying to get out of the match? And I love you, Kevin Owens, but I'm going to beat you at the show tomorrow. And I want to know if we'll still be friends when it's over. Which is pretty rich coming from the guy who started this whole thing. Cody Rhodes is the one who said, hey, let's have a match where we fight each other for a belt. My friend. And then for him to have the balls at the end of it all, the night before, to be like, hey, still friends after this, pal? Kevin's like, I don't want to fight you. Cody's like, come on. Kevin's like, I'm losing all my matches. Also, what he's not saying is Cody happens to be winning all his matches lately. So, judging on how they're doing lately, it's not a great move for Kevin. He's kind of getting picked on by the top dog in the yard. And Cody's got the balls to be like, hey, after I beat you tomorrow, still friends? I don't understand how Cody's supposed to come off as a babyface in this and how Kevin's supposed to come off as a heel. I don't know if they are. Honestly, Cody seems like a real dick. I hope Kevin beats him tomorrow. I don't think he will, but I kind of hope he does. Cody's got it coming. Also, Kevin Owens, after Cody asked him that question, didn't answer. He just whispered something in Cody's ear and walked away. Last guy to do that to Cody was The Rock. Remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
Wonder what they said.
Still waiting.
Yeah, still waiting. Don't know. Don't know.
Well,
are you getting the same vibe on this feud as I am? Like with Kevin and Cody and the dynamics there? Like, Cody, how is Cody a babyface in this?
Well, it's weird. This is why you get this face versus face stuff. It doesn't always work out very well because Kevin's making a claim, Cody's saying it's a lie. But like, is Kevin really going to lie about that? That people are telling him, like, so everyone else is lying to Kevin or something about how Cody's like staying an hour afterwards, getting medical help? Like, that's a lie. A lot of things are kind of weird about this. Like, someone's obviously lying, but who's lying? It's odd, and like, I wonder how it's all going to work out. I think Cody's going to win, but how will this all end? Are we going to get Kevin turn heel? I mean, I think that might be great for Kevin, but I don't know, to be honest. Like, if it will be, because like, you're going to turn heel after just losing to the champion. I don't know if that really helps you that much.
Then he goes on to feud with who? After he doesn't beat the top babyface, who's the second biggest babyface on SmackDown?
I think as long as him and Randy like stay as a team, because I think there's money in that, Kevin and Randy as a tag team. I could see them as tag champions.
As a heel team, though?
Oh, I think because right now the Bloodline have the tag titles, right? I think Kevin and Randy are the best team to beat them for the tag titles.
But how do they get there from where they are right now with Kevin and Cody?
How does that all work?
He just stays a babyface. He loses to Cody, shakes his hand, and it's all fine.
That's what has to happen, I think.
That'd be weird, though, based on what we've seen so far. No? Don't you think? Like, we're kind of poised for some sort of Kevin Owens explosion at Cody?
It feels like that's teased. But I'm hoping that he stays a babyface. I think it's better for him to stay as babyface.
We'll see. We both have Cody winning, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Cody's not losing right now. Like,
no.
The end game is with The Rock. You got to get to that first.
What is the end game with The Rock? Versus The Rock? At Mania?
Something with The Rock. Whoever knows however that shakes out. I would think one-on-one makes sense because The Rock beat Cody. You got to go back to that.
Yep. I don't think you're wrong. It's a huge match. It's big. I don't know if you do it at Mania, though. It'd be great to get The Rock for a couple. Rumble against Cody and then Mania against Roman.
Sure. I'd like that. Do you think that's going to happen, though? I don't know if they can pull that off.
No. Yeah. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting, though, John. Getting into the fall, as we head into Survivor Series in November. Once we're through that, we're gearing up for the Rumble, and then things really start cooking. The Terror Twins, as they're being called, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley taking on the Judgment Day team of Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. They had promos and a match on Raw. It's a whole thing. All Judgment Day, all the time on Monday Night Raw. The Judgment Day beat the LWO in an 8-man tag. All of the Judgment Day in action. Dirty Dom, Finn Balor, JD McDonuts, and the Great Carlito. Victorious over Rey Mysterio, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Dragon Lee, who's not nearly getting enough TV time. When I saw Dragon Lee on Raw, I said, oh, man, he's still in WWE, eh? How come they're not doing anything with this guy? He's really good. What are they doing? What are they doing? Johnny?
He's getting lost in the shuffle is what's happening, I think.
Johnny, I think you got a connection issue. I think you're slightly delayed to me or something. I think we got a delay going. Maybe?
Oh,
can you hear me?
Refresh. Hold on. I can hear you, but I'll refresh.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just in my mind. Maybe Johnny's just slow on responding to me. He just doesn't feel like responding. Or he's just deep in thought. Hey, Johnny, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I think we're good. Maybe it's all in my mind, John. Sometimes a refresh is good. You got to refresh every system that you got going. So, Rhea and Damian Priest, do they get their revenge here? They got beat up on Raw by the Judgment Day people. What happens?
I think they get their revenge. Like, they didn't win at SummerSlam, so now they get their revenge here. To me, that's what makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get their revenge.
I think you're probably right. Should be an interesting match, though. I'm looking forward to it. But it's just another stop on this long road between these people, right? Because Liv and Rhea are going to wrestle for the championship again. I don't think there's any way around it. The problem for Damian Priest is that he's coming off losing the World Heavyweight Championship and immediately playing sidekick to Rhea Ripley in her feud with Liv Morgan. And he doesn't have a legit opponent to go up against because his dancing partner is Dominic Mysterio, who is worth nothing as far as beating him really means nothing for you. Like, he's an entertaining character. He's fun to have around on Raw. I'm not saying he's bad in WWE. I kind of like Dirty Dom, but he's a jabroni. And to come off the world title run going up against a jabroni kind of sucks for Damian Priest. You know? It's not a good next step right after losing the belt. The first time you hold one of those belts, it's not a good sign for his future. Even if he wins, you know what I mean? Because he's not the focus in this. The focus in this is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Damian Priest just happens to be there.
It involves him though, because he's involved in this whole like breakup with the Judgment Day, and he was considered one of the leaders of Judgment Day. So it's important that he's involved in this, and we're leading up to Priest versus Finn Balor.
Yeah,
we aren't there yet, but we're going to get there. So this is the in between.
That should be the match, though. I understand Dominic and Liv have the whole thing, but the bigger match would be Finn because he's a legit opponent. And Finn is the guy that cost Priest the belt.
Yeah, no, I think that's what we're building towards. But because it's with Rhea, and that's a big thing, and Dom was involved, just killed two birds, one stone with this, and Priest is there because association.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Priest and Rhea have to win here. Dominic and Liv have been winning a lot. Liv loses nothing. If she loses this, she's still the champion. And Dominic, like I said, loses so much, it doesn't really matter if he loses another. Rhea and Priest kind of need a win. Rhea, has she won since she's come back from injury?
That's a good point. Well, she's only, had the one match, no? That's it.
Yeah.
So,
and she lost
she should win.
Yeah, she should win something at some point. I think she needs a win. Priest needs a win, too.
Yeah, but he can afford not, because I think he won. Didn't he beat JD McDonough on Raw?
JD McDonough. But his last big match, the people remember, he lost. So I think Priest and Rhea probably win this one. How about Albert Fire and Isla Dawn defending their tag team titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill? I think Jade and Bianca take the belts back here.
Well, do we have any other title changes on this show? I don't think so. So
not a single one.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. It makes sense to be the title change here. They had a nice run, Fire and Dawn.
How long did it last? 4 weeks? 5 weeks?
I want to say a little bit longer than that. No, was it not in June? I think they won the titles.
It was in Glasgow.
Yeah, it was June.
Was it June? Okay. So they had a couple months, but June 15th. They've had 2.5 months. That's enough. Right? Give it back to Bianca and Jade. It's their turn again. What are we doing here?
I mean, they are a super team. It makes sense to make them multiple-time tag champs.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. So we've got a title change. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill going to win the women's tag team titles for the second time. And how about the match that I really want to see, I think more than anything? CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. That is the match that I am tuning in for tomorrow afternoon more than any other one. It's a strap match. Is it a four-corner strap match, or is it a beat-you-up pinfall or submission strap match?
Four corners.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what Punk said on Raw.
Did he really? I didn't catch that. I didn't.
Yeah, he said it on Raw.
Ooh, four-corner strap match. Old school. Okay. How does this go, John? How does this go? I think this will be match of the night. Possibly. I mean, Gunther, Randy with the atmosphere could be there, but CM Punk, Drew McIntyre in a strap match has the, possibility of being very, very good. Drew beat Punk at SummerSlam. Yeah, it's hard to believe he did beat him, though. With Seth Rollins as the referee. A lot of shenanigans.
Right.
Right? What was the finish of that? I completely forget. How did Drew beat him?
It was like he hit him with the GTS. Then Seth, I think Punk got the bracelet, right?
Yeah.
But once he got the bracelet, then the Claymore came in, I think.
Oh, right, because he saw Seth with the bracelet and he went after Seth, right? The bracelet distracted him. And we're still on the bracelet. There's still a lot of bracelet talk. Drew still has the bracelet. So much bracelet. Even in the promo this week on Raw, Punk's like, give me the bracelet or I'm going to kick your ass. It's like, all right. It's just a bracelet. I don't get it, man. All this bracelet stuff. The fact that they've been going months and months about a freaking bracelet that Punk has is weird. But I think it speaks to the bracelet culture of WWE. Triple H has the multiple bead bracelets. Cody Rhodes has the multiple bead bracelets when they're in their suits and at the press conferences. They got the arm just 4, 5, 6, 7, tons of bracelets on their arm.
Well, it's like that in all of wrestling, no? You see that in AEW as well. People have the bracelets as well.
What's with the bead bracelets in wrestling?
It's a thing. It's over for whatever reason. I don't know. I think some wrestlers, just find it's neat. It looks good, I guess. Possibly.
Is it the new fanny pack or something? What's going on?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It's weird, but I've seen Cody with them, right?
Right. Yeah.
Triple H is the first guy I noticed. I was like, what does he have 100 bracelets on for? What's all these beads on his hand? Let me show you a picture of him. Where's the game? There he is. Hey, here I am. Look at all my beads. Look at this. What is that? And it's not just he's always got these beads. Bead bracelets. Yeah, you like the headline there. Dodges. Dodging questions about Vince, pal. Triple H got the bead bracelets. Cody Rhodes I've seen with them. And I guess Punk is into the bead bracelets too. It's WWE bead culture.
Huh.
And Cody didn't used to wear the beads. In AEW, he didn't have the beads. But now in WWE, he's got a wrist full of beads. I'm trying to find you.
Yeah, I think it's something it caught on recently, I think, this whole bead thing.
Yeah, right? But I feel like Triple H was the first one to do it, and now they're all just kissing Triple H's ass by having the beads. That's what it seems like to me.
I don't know about you.
I can't find a picture
haven't
of Cody with the beads. I'm trying to find some Cody beads. I can't find it. It's very easy to find it with Triple H because he's always wearing them. But Cody, it's more recent. But he's wearing them. And now Punk is like feuding over the beads. Give me my beads! Like, what the hell? It's pretty lame. But the match, I think, will be real good. So that's cool. Will Punk survive?
I thought for a second, you had beads for a second, but it's just your wire covering your arm. That's it. Yeah, no beads.
No beads. No beads on me, baby. I think the match will be great. I think Punk is definitely winning.
Again, I feel like he kind of has to win because he lost the last one and sets up a rubber match, right? So, and it's only touched the corner, so he doesn't actually pin Drew. Yeah, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense for Punk to win.
Yep. I'm dropping big time.
I'll refresh again.
Things go wrong. They're coming back. They're coming back. I think we're back. We're back in the mix. Sorry about that, guys. A little glitch in the systems. So that is WWE Bash in Berlin, John. We have done it. We have previewed the whole show. It's only 5 matches. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, but there'll be recap videos, so it's going to be a lot longer than you expect, I think. We've got experience on these shows now. It might seem like it's a short show, but they can stretch the heck out of these.
Yes. 5 matches over 3 hours, though, I think is stretched enough, right? Yes? Yes.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Okay. So that's what's going on in WWE world. I think we're maybe still having a technical glitch there with Johnny. I don't know. I think that's on Johnny. Oh, Johnny just glitched out. Johnny, are you with us? You good?
I hear you again, but yeah, it was getting jumpy again.
Okay. I think that was on you this time. My thing, it was just like a 30-second glitch. I don't know. Anyways, we're working through it. We're good. Johnny, that's basically what's going on in the world of WWE. I want to talk about wrestling. Bryan Danielson, of course, is the very exciting. Right, John? Come on. Give it up. Bryan. He did it. And he did it in the best possible way, in the best possible moment, with his family there. It was incredible. What a moment. What a show. What a match. And what a champion. What a man. What a pro wrestler. Bryan Danielson, the great. The legendary.
I think it goes to show, like, sometimes when you wait for something, you wait long enough, it pays off. And this finally paid off. After all the times, like, he came up short, now it feels so much more sweeter when he finally capitalized in the biggest moment possible.
It was beautiful. All the ups and downs of Bryan Danielson over the years. To see him get this moment at this point, at this stage in his career, was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in pro wrestling. One of the best things I've ever seen. That was the pinnacle.
It's great
of what,
for him.
For me, that's what the pinnacle of pro wrestling is supposed to be all about. Real emotion, real pro wrestling matches. You know, like the match was great. The emotion was there. The story was there. The guy that won deserved everything. The crowd was into it. It doesn't get better than that. Perfect. Perfection. Well done, Tony Khan in AEW. To get to that point, to build to that moment, and then, of course, to Swerve and Bryan Danielson for delivering and executing. Unbelievable performances from those guys. What a match. What a match. And now, we have Bryan as our champion. The number one champion in all of professional wrestling. The number one wrestler in all of professional wrestling. The greatest, Bryan Danielson, who says he is staying in AEW. He is not leaving, and he will not retire as AEW World Champion. But and here's the sad part, he will stop wrestling full time when he loses the AEW championship. So when this current title run is over, he will stop wrestling full time, which sucks. But also, this title run, I think, is going to be pretty awesome because Bryan is going to be wrestling regularly and having great matches and winning them. And who knows how long this goes. I think we're going to have a good, lengthy title run for Bryan Danielson. I think it'll be at least 6 months, hopefully. So we'll see. I think we're going to get a good run here out of Bryan. I hope it doesn't end in December. I mean, I say 6 months, but then I think, I don't know. Could be 3 months. Could be 6 months. Could be a year. But I think the run is going to be great. However long it is. I'm hoping for 6 months. I'm hoping for that long Bryan Danielson championship reign that we've also wanted. You know, he's won belts before, but he's never had that big, long run. I'd like a nice half a year run for Bryan Danielson on top of AEW, but we'll see. We'll see. He needs neck surgery, so there's a limit to what he can do and how long he can do it. And he also said that his daughter said it was the best day of her life seeing him win, and she had a great time. But he also knows that he has to be home for her and the kids and the family. They need him home. And especially now, everything that's gone on with the family, everything that's going on, you know, he's got to be home for his kids, obviously. But his sister-in-law, his wife's twin, Nikki, is going through it right now in a major way. It's bad. You know, there's a situation. Her husband was arrested for a felony domestic something, right?
Domestic violence, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like her husband was being violent towards her. And he was arrested for this, which is a terrible circumstance. And I feel awful for Nikki Bella. Everything she's gone through, all the heartbreak that she has gone through in the public eye, not just with this situation, but with Cena before that. Like, this woman has had the world see her in some pretty vulnerable, rough positions. I can't imagine what that is like for her or anyone. So I feel very badly for Nikki Bella, and I hope that she is doing well. And, of course, the mother, Nikki and Bree's mother, has had difficult times. Her husband, John Laurinaitis, who she's still married to, I think. Maybe. Or not for long. I don't know exactly what their situation is, but it came out that he was being named in the Vince McMahon sexual assault trafficking lawsuit. And now he's one of the defendants with Vince. So he's doing all sorts of bad things. So all the men in this family, all the husbands in this family are not good guys. But Bryan Danielson is. I mean, seems like it at least. By all accounts, he's a good guy. And when he says his family needs him home, I go, yeah, I think they probably do. So for the injuries, for the kids, for the extended family that's going through it right now, I understand that Bryan Danielson needs to go home. But as a Bryan Danielson fan, I really want him to stick around because, by God, is he the greatest wrestler I've ever seen. He is right up there with Bret the Hitman Hart. They are 1A and 1B. I can't say who's who. It's hard. It's hard to pick. And that's the heights that Bryan Danielson has reached. He's so great. And the great thing is with Bryan Danielson is that he's currently wrestling. it doesn't really matter if you compare Brett and Bryan. They wrestled in two different eras. To me, in Brett's era, Brett was by far the best. In Bryan's era, Bryan's by far the best. Brett doesn't wrestle anymore. I can't see Brett wrestle. But I can see Bryan wrestle new matches all the time, and that's what we're going to get with Bryan as the world champion, which is amazing. I'm very happy about that. Very happy to see more Bryan Danielson. And I am hoping that all is well with his family. I'm wishing them the best. I've got nothing but good things to say all the time. If you watch this show regularly, you know for years nothing but good things to say about Nikki Bella, about Brie Bella. I think they're both fantastic, huge crossover stars for professional wrestling. Major stars. Nikki Bella is a major star. I think I was just talking last week about how big of a star Nikki Bella is. Right?
I think so. Something like that. Yeah, you mentioned her.
She's hosting a Netflix, it was like a live
hot dog eating,
some sort of eating contest between Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi, and Nikki Bella was like one of the hosts of the event. It was like her and somebody else hosting. That's not something that any former WWE Women's Champion is getting. I don't know who else is doing that. Who else is getting a Netflix hosting gig? Who else is getting the reality shows and the brands and all of this stuff that Nikki and Brie get? What other women's wrestlers are getting this type of opportunity outside of professional wrestling? Who? And then people want to say, oh, the Bellas. It's like, okay, guys, let's relax here. They come from nothing, and they've made an empire. You got to respect the Bella Twins. If you don't really understand what they've accomplished. You're not really understanding the big picture of who they are and how far they've come and how far they've gone.
I think a lot of the hate that they get is mainly for their wrestling. I don't think a lot of people liked their wrestling. That's the main problem, I think, what it was.
Sure, but, think about where they were when they started. They couldn't wrestle at all. At all.
Right.
And they weren't wrestling fans. They just got hired because, of their look, and they were good personalities. They couldn't wrestle. They weren't really taught to wrestle. They kind of had to pick it up on the road because they're on the road right away. They're not trained in any way. They're trained while they're on the road. And even for many years during their career, they didn't need to wrestle. They weren't supposed to wrestle. Women's wrestling wasn't really a thing. So by the time it kind of started becoming more of a thing in WWE, they were learning and they were at the top of the pack. Say what you want about Nikki Bella, but she had a very good run on top. She was very much improved. Brie also improved from where she was. And Nikki, broke her neck for the business. Nikki's finishing move was so impactful on her neck that the wear and tear, she had to have neck surgery. I mean, you want to criticize her wrestling and Brie's wrestling, whatever, fine. They're not your cup of tea as far as in the ring, but respect the sacrifice to their body a little bit. You have a neck surgery for your job? You know what I'm saying? You break your neck on your job? I mean, come on.
I understand you. I get you, but you can understand where a lot of the resentment comes from. Again, they got hired because of their looks, not because of what they've done in wrestling in the past. So I get where a lot of the resentment came from.
How many women that have that look, like a Nikki Bella, would put themselves through what the Bellas put themselves through, becoming the wrestlers that they became? You know what I mean? Most models are not trying to break their neck in a wrestling ring.
No, I get you. But again, there will always be that certain fan base that will resent them because they got hired because of their looks, not because of their talent.
maybe they
And
resent
a
them
lot of
because
people
of their
feel
looks too. There's a part of that,
that
as well.
too, and
there's an incel aspect to it.
the fact that they hooked up with wrestlers too, the powerful wrestlers in a sense.
Yeah.
So some people resent that as well. Like
Sure.
I see where all the hate comes from. I don't agree with it, but I understand it.
I see some points, but I also go, come on. Let's be real. I got all the time in the world for the Bella Twins. You know, I was super happy to see Brie there. I thought she did a tremendous job as the concerned wife ringside during that match. We've seen the concerned wife during a match trying to, you know, facially sell what's happening and the concern and everything, and they wind up smiling or they don't do it right. But Brie, of course, a WWE Hall of Famer, she was perfect there. They even had her do like a 10-minute interview with Renee that they aired on their YouTube channel for the match. Brie Danielson, not Brie Bella. They call her Brie Danielson because, you know, that's the only way they can brand her. But Brie, I thought, was really good. You know, one of the unsung heroes of that whole show.
Well, it added to the whole drama of that match, and that added to the match as well. Like to me, it was one of the best parts when Swerve yelled at Birdie. Like I thought that was great. It added to the match, and
Brie's reaction was solid too. You know,
yeah, like consoling her, like, you know, it's okay, yeah. And, you know, he was crying. It was good,
but still, like, mad at Swerve. Like you could tell, like she was like looking at him, like, you know. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't breaking character in any, you know? She's like, I hate you, Swerve, and I want Brian to kick your ass. You know? It was like, you could see that in her face. It's very good. It's very good.
And it meant more at the end, too. I found it interesting that apparently Brie wasn't allowed to come down for WrestleMania 30 when Brian had his moment, that WWE wouldn't allow that to happen.
Yes.
That's odd, though, because, like, eventually they were allowed to be a couple on screen. I don't get why in that moment he wasn't allowed it, though. It's weird.
I don't know. They didn't want to portray it that way for some reason, but she got to have this moment with Brian in the ring, and Brian said it was the greatest moment of his wrestling career. And, yeah, I could see that. Beautiful moment. I'm still loving it. I'm very, very happy that it all happened.
When you think about it as a wrestler, just as a person, just to have that kind of moment, you know, so many people, the quality of the match he had, his family, I don't think you could have written it any better, really, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's what pro wrestling is all about. This is why we sit and we watch for the years and the years, so we could get the moment like that.
No, I agree. I still thought Toni Storm and Mariah May was the best match in the show, but that wasn't far behind.
They were both great matches. That show was great, right? You weren't on the post show, John.
I was not, but it was a good show. I listened to you guys.
Yeah, but All In, I thought, was a fantastic wrestling show.
No, it was very good. To me, it was, you know, I'll debate the Sting thing because Sting, it's a special thing in itself, but this may have been overall the best pay-per-view they've done this year. And that says a lot because I thought the Sting pay-per-view was good, Dynasty was good, Double or Nothing wasn't bad. So AEW's have some pretty good pay-per-views this year.
Yes. They've done very well. The AEW in-ring product is, I think, at an all-time high. They've got another pay-per-view coming up next Saturday, the 7th of September. In Chicago, it's All Out. Will Ospreay defending the International Championship against Pac. We saw Rick O'Shea make his AEW debut with a win over Kyle Fletcher. And then we saw Will Ospreay go out looking like he was going to confront Ricochet. This is on Dynamite this week. And Pac attacking Ospreay because Pac, of course, has an International Championship shot that he won at some point. I don't remember.
He won on Dynamite a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. That match will be good as hell, though, for the international title. Pac versus Ospreay at All Out. That's cool.
That'll be a great match. I mean, they've actually set up All Out pretty good, like especially compared to last year when they only had like a week. Now they have given them more time at least. Like, it helps a lot. And they kind of help build it where it's like there's already stuff built in prior to All In. So it helped going into All Out. So, I mean, most of it's already set. I hope they actually don't add more matches. They probably will, but I think they're already set, in my opinion.
Bryan Danielson going to be defending the AEW World Championship against Jack Perry. And Jack Perry attacked Bryan Danielson on Dynamite this week, cut a promo on him to set all of that up. Perry mentioning that he beat Bryan the last time they were in the ring together. It was in the Blood and Guts? What was that?
I believe that was
Stampede?
Anarchy in the Arena. Anarchy in the Arena thing.
There you go. Yeah. It was a multi-man match, and Jack Perry won it for the Elite by pinning Danielson. They're going to have a rematch. I don't think Perry beats Danielson in the rematch, one-on-one.
No, but Darby Allin, when he gets the chance at Grand Slam, it wouldn't be impossible. I could see that happen.
I wouldn't mind. If Bryan's going to drop it early to anybody, I would like it to be Darby more than anyone else, I think.
Wow.
There's nobody I'd rather see champion again. There's nobody I'd rather see champion other than Bryan. You know, I think a Darby, just based on the body of work, he deserves a big push like that. He deserves a big shot. I don't think they're going to give it to him because it's too soon. But I would love to see Darby as AEW World Champion. He's a guy that I think doesn't get the opportunities he deserves. He's one of the most entertaining guys in all of pro wrestling. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world today, and for some reason, he hasn't been pushed at the top of the card. He did briefly there when MJF was champion, but it didn't last long enough. And you could tell even there, you know, when they had MJF and Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, it was between MJF and Darby. You know, the other two guys were there, but Darby was really the threat. He was the guy. The fans knew it. MJF knew it. And when he needed to cut those promos, he was there for it. Darby is very good. It's going to be Darby's time at some point. I don't think, you know, as early as September, but I think he will be the world champion. He should be. He's, like I said, his matches are can't miss. You got to watch. You never know what he's going to do. Sacrifices his body, gives everything.
Yeah, the match with Jack Perry was very special. I didn't think it was the match tonight, but it's up there. It's definitely, there was a lot of good matches, and that just added to the whole night. Like, I thought it was a very special match, and the fact that they put Darby, they put him in the casket, they poured gasoline over him. Like, they didn't light him on fire, but I wouldn't have put it past them that they might actually try to light him on fire. Because Darby is crazy enough to do it, I think.
It could happen. How come Sting didn't pull Darby out of the gasoline-soaked casket? He went to attack the Elite before saving his friend. Shouldn't he have saved Darby first?
Take the threat out first.
Yeah, but what if things didn't go his way and they just like beat up on Sting and then they just burn them both alive?
Yeah, but I would trust Sting's, like,
in a 3-on-1 attack.
Does Sting need backup? Like, I mean, his sons were there. Worst case.
Okay.
I think.
We're gonna have Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland in a steel cage. That match made official on Dynamite this week. Hangman wrestled Tomohiro Ishii. We talked about it a bit before the show, John. I thought the match was great. You weren't a huge fan of it. I thought it was devastating. A lot of head drops. New Japan style match. Hangman winning. And then Swerve coming out. Swerve is mad that Hangman got involved in his world title match and All In. He wants revenge. Hangman says, you know, you never actually beat me. You always had help. You had help from Nana or Brian Cage. You can't beat me. You're not as good as I am. It was a very intense promo from Swerve and Hangman. And the reaction of the crowd when Swerve came out and went nose to nose, like he walked in the ring and you could feel the intensity between those two. And they just walk right up to each other and they just go nose to nose, just staring at each other, just like intensity. The crowd was like, oh my God. It was one of the most intense promos and face-offs you will see in pro wrestling. They're working an angle, but by God, there's a lot of it that feels real in the tension. It feels like there's real animosity there. I don't know what it is. You know, Swerve didn't really break into Hangman's house, but it's almost like he did based on the way Hangman is acting. Hangman is doing a hell of a job with this character right now. It's a completely different Hangman, and it is very intense. And Swerve brought it too. It was quite a promo. I was very impressed. Just as soon as they got together, it was like the whole crowd was like, oh, shit. This is serious. They were hyped. They've got something there. Steel cage. I think Hangman finally wins. But he's going to win by doing something like really horrible where you go, oh, you had to do that? Like, what the hell, man? You know? Like, he might hang him from the cage and then escape, you know? But I really hope he doesn't, because it won't look good. White guy hanging a black guy in a cage. It doesn't look good. So I hope he doesn't do that, but he's the Hangman. I'm just saying, like, for example, like, I think he's going to do something shockingly violent. Hopefully with no racial undertones, because I think that's unnecessary. But shockingly violent to Swerve to beat him. Or he just loses again and goes more insane. I don't know. I'm really not sure who wins. My gut says Hangman because he's lost so many of them. But maybe Swerve is the guy that he just can't defeat and it drives him mad. What'd you think of that promo, John?
I like the intensity. I didn't like the fact that they got so close with each other and they're so intense, though. I feel like if you're going to get that close with each other,
you should fuck.
It has to lead to fit. I mean, there should be an F word, but not what I was thinking. I was thinking fisticuffs.
Oh, fisticuffs.
That, yes. Thinking that F word instead.
Yeah.
And I thought it kind of hurt Hangman a bit, too, where he's like, steel cage, and he kind of just whimpered away Hangman afterwards. He didn't agree to it or not. He just looked at him, stared, and just dropped the mic and left. Like, I thought that kind of made Hangman look kind of bad.
I think I didn't hate it. I think kind of in Hangman's face, you read into what he's thinking. You got to interpret what's going on. And I interpreted it as like, okay, now he's really setting me up for this match. There's no more excuses. I have to beat him. I said he's better than me. I said he only beat me because of interference, but now steel cage, he's challenging me. He's saying he's going to beat me and show everybody that I'm nothing. It's put up or shut up time. I think he just decided to. I think he's maybe intimidated by the moment. I'm not sure.
Swerve's a great talker. I think Swerve out-talked him because Swerve is very smooth with his words. And, you know, Hangman, like, he gets intense. He brought the intensity, but I think he told that he was frustrated, and it worked because I believed it.
Yeah. Very good stuff. Very good way to build that match, though, right? You feel the heat. You feel the intensity all over again. If you forgot about what it is between Swerve and Hangman, they brought it all back around, and there's a reason why there's a steel cage around them for the match. Like, the build to this match was executed perfectly by that promo. It's perfect. Very well done. Tony Khan. Tony Khan, baby. Booking things correctly here.
The thing about their steel cage matches, though, if my memory serves correct, escape the cage doesn't provide a victory. I think it's pinfall or submission inside the cage only.
Okay. You think Hangman wins?
I mean, if he wins, it's not going to be like the hanging thing like you mentioned in Escape the Cage.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for example, not that horrific, but horrific.
I mean, I would think Hangman, but like you said, maybe it's one of those matches where it's like, or feuds where it's just, you just can't beat him. I like those too, where it's like, this one guy just always wins. Those work too.
Yeah. Which would be weird for Hangman, though. How does he kind of dig out of that hole? You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think he probably wins, unless they have a good idea.
We'll see. They've had some pretty good ideas recently. What else happened on Dynamite this week? Jamie Hayter returned. Jamie Hayter looking very different in her return. When she came out on the pre-show, I thought she was Becky Lynch for a second, which would have been cool. But it's Jamie Hayter. She looks like she's skinnier now, maybe. She looks a little like more cut, and she's got red hair now, like Becky Lynch almost. She looked more like Becky, but it's not Becky. It's Jamie Hayter who beat Cameron something. Harley Cameron.
That's correct, yes.
On Dynamite this week, which was fun. And, of course, Jamie Hayter's going after Paige Saraya. So that match probably at All Out, although I don't think it's official. We'll see.
No, but I think you're right. I think that's what's probably going to happen, I think.
5 matches official for All Out. They're going to have to put that whole card together over the next week. Ospreay versus Pac. Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander in a Chicago street fight. Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Page in a steel cage match. MJF versus Daniel Garcia. And Bryan Danielson versus Jack Perry for the AEW World Championship. Daniel Garcia attacked MJF this week. Got real mad at him. Cut a promo on MJF. And set up a match for the pay-per-view. Yeah.
You know, I'm not big on Daniel Garcia, but for whatever reason, he was like highly pursued by both WWE and AEW. So a lot of people see a lot of value in him. And apparently he made big money with AEW, like by staying with them, from what the rumors say. And apparently Swerve as well. So good for them.
Yeah.
I looked up his like net worth. Like, I can't believe like Daniel Garcia is worth like $2 to $5 million. It blew me away.
I don't know if that's real though, when you look that up.
But some people believe it. You know, that's the thing. Like, some people like see Daniel Garcia in that light.
So AEW paid him a lot of money? I don't really get it. Swerve I get.
Well, apparently WWE wanted to get him and they couldn't get him. And it makes sense. Like, I get it. Right, there's a bidding war. That's it. And Tony Khan has money.
He does. And he wants to keep Daniel Garcia. So does that mean they're investing in Daniel Garcia and they're going to have him beat MJF at the pay-per-view? Because that seems a little rich.
Well, again, this is the way we see it. Like, we were like, well, just him wrestle MJF, that's a big win for him just to get the match. But for whatever reason, like, people believe Daniel Garcia is like the next world champion. Like, I'm not seeing that right now, but I'm seeing a lot of talk about that.
Well, he's going to have to get over first.
Well, to me, it seems like he's getting this forced push. Like, I mean, that's a huge spot. They gave him all in right there.
Mm-hmm.
Go right with MJ. And if they haven't beat MJF, like, that's gigantic.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have had forced pushes and have beaten MJF. And where's Wardlow now?
You're not wrong. I know. But they do it. and it feels like they're doing it again.
Seriously, where is Wardlow now? They were trying to make him into the next Batista. He's not. It didn't work.
And they tried several times.
Is he still on the roster even?
I think he's probably just letting his contract run out. That's what it looks like, because they're just not doing anything with him right now.
Cool. Yup. Weird how all that went down with the Wardlow. All right, Big Johnny. I want to talk a little bit about Jon Moxley, who came back. He'd been gone for a few months. He came back. He cut a promo. He seemed mad. He aligned himself with Marina Shafir, who attacked some security backstage. What's going on here?
Came out with New Japan theme, too.
Yeah, new angle, new gimmick, new persona for Jon Moxley.
Apparently, from what I looked up, like he's doing this romper stomper like kind of gimmick.
What?
I don't know if you're familiar with the movie with Russell Crowe.
Nope.
Anyways, Russell Crowe was like a Nazi, I guess, in this movie.
Oh.
So, yeah. So apparently Moxley's doing that kind of gimmick. I don't know if he's supposed to be a Nazi, but that's the personality, I guess, he's trying to portray, that character, the way he was, I guess, in the movie, Russell Crowe, in the Romper Stomper movie.
Okay. This is an internet theory, or this is Moxley saying this?
Internet theory.
Oh, okay. I think we're just scratching the surface of what this new character is. It's hard to tell.
The speculation is this is how Shane's going to get brought into. They're going to bring in people, like Mox is going to start his own faction, and Shane will be involved, or you see many other people that get surprisingly show up.
Ooh, the MWO, Moxley World Order. Shane could be his Eric Bischoff. He's the Hogan.
I mean, there's that speculation that's out there. I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I would like more, like he's starting his own like Blackpool Combat Club against like Danielson's Combat Club. That'd be all right. I wouldn't mind that.
Why would he do that, though? What was the breakup? There was never a breakup.
You'd have to explain it. I don't know. Well, the fact that they won the trios titles without him, I could see that. You'd be a little upset about that.
But he wasn't around.
Yeah, well, they could have waited. They could have not had Pac as like their partner.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll see why Moxley's mad, I guess, in the coming weeks. Something will happen. Johnny, let's talk about another psychotic man in wrestling. Psychotic Sydney, Psycho Sid, Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, however you know him. We lost a legend of professional wrestling this week. I was surprised to learn was not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like, what? Kind of weird.
Well, I'm not surprised. He wasn't well liked in WWE. Have you seen a lot of their documentaries? They kind of put Sid down almost all the time. So, not surprised at all.
Is it because he left for softball?
There's many reasons. The whole stabbing with Arn.
Yeah, but that was long before he ever joined WWE.
Right, but then after the fact, I mean, who was a part of WWE for so long?
Yeah.
Arn and Flair was there.
Yeah.
So, people that didn't like Sid. So the narrative changes on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's weird. Sid was a legend. Sid was incredible. I talked about him a little bit on the show last night, and I was saying how, up until that point, we'd seen tall guys in wrestling, but we never seen tall guys that were that jacked, that had that type of look. You had the Giant Gonzalez, you had the Undertakers, skinny, tall guys. You had the Andre the Giant's, kind of bigger, more lumbering. But Sid was a different type of animal. 6'9" and jacked. Built like Hogan, tall like Undertaker. He was a very impressive wrestler. When he came into the WWF, I was already aware of him from WCW as Sid Justice at the time. Or no, sorry, Sid Vicious. And then when he came into WWE as Sid Justice, he made an immediate impact. And he just had a great wrestling career, a legend of pro wrestling, around forever. Debuted, broke in the business in 1987, and stopped wrestling in, early 2000s, I guess.
After he wrestled Paul Rossetti.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, we know.
Right.
That was his last match ever.
He appeared on an episode of Raw in June 2012. I mean, this guy had a very long wrestling career. He was on, of course, WrestleMania 8 against Hulk Hogan. Had he just gone into the WWE at that point?
Like, it wasn't too long. Yeah, like he had just been there for, I think, a couple months at that point, yeah.
Weird.
Well, he bounced around from WCW a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was there in the early 90s.
He was there in the early 90s as Sid Vicious. Then he went to the WWE for a couple of years. And then he left. And, like, in WWE, he was there from 91 to 92. And then 93, he's back in WCW. And then he went to the USWA from 94 to 96. Then he came back to the WWF in about 95. I mean, he was working Memphis territory in 94. That's how he kind of worked his way back into the WWF, working for Jerry Lawler. Got back into the WWF 95 to 97, had a big run there, became WWF champion, main evented another WrestleMania. That was a huge run for Sid. Sid had two big runs in WWF. Short runs. Both runs in WWE, WWF really, only lasted 2 years each. A little less than 2 years. And one of the times he quit because he wanted to go play softball for the summer, which was always a legendary story.
Well, another legendary story is the whole squeegee thing that happened. I think it was Brian Pillman, right? Like, he was going to get in a fight with Pillman.
Which one was that?
He went out. There was some sort of hotel thing that they were, like, teasing and ribbing him or something. And he's like, I'll show you, Brian, or something. And then he went outside and got a weapon, and it was a squeegee, and everyone laughed at him. So that was what kind of really put him down in WCW. I think that, I'm not sure if that led eventually to the Arn stabbing, but eventually that happened, sadly.
It was quite a run for Sid. Many stories, of course, in WCW, that horrific leg break that you could see on Botchamanias and YouTube, where he jumps off the second rope and his leg shatters, and it's really, really gruesome.
I mean, that kind of pretty much ended his career. Like, yeah, he wrestled afterwards, but he was never the same after that.
No. But, he was something. He was a character in wrestling, He was an attraction. He was one of those guys that came in for the company like a mercenary. Like, oh, you need a big guy who can draw money? Bring in Sid. You need a big monster? Bring in Sid. WCW used him. WWF used him throughout the 90s. And he had a lot of success in both companies.
I think he had a cup of coffee in ECW as well. I remember he was on a couple pay-per-views.
Of course, the master and the ruler of the world was his tagline. My favorite Sid promo was against the Outsiders, where I think he botched it up. But it was, you're half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you have. She's like, what?
Yeah, that's what he said, yeah.
Said that to Kevin Nash, right? That's the quote?
Yeah.
Classic. He didn't mean to say
he won he still won the WCW title, though.
That's right,
and all
brother.
that, too.
That's right, brother. Oh, Sid.
I mean, he had that classic moment with JR, too, where he's like, oh, I screwed that up. And JR's like, well, we're live, pal.
Oh, yeah, where live, pal was to Sid. Let's do that again. We're live, pal. Oh.
But it goes to show, despite those moments, like, you couldn't deny him. Like, he still became champion in both places.
Yeah. I don't think he should have wrestled Hogan at WrestleMania 8, but that's a different discussion for a different day.
I mean, it was Vince's call. I mean, if he didn't want to go with Hogan Flair, Sid makes sense.
Yeah, but he should have gone with Hogan Flair.
Should have, but he didn't like the way that things were going on the house shows, and I guess the matches weren't up to what they thought they would be. So it goes to show you, hey, Sid worked. And look at the reaction Sid got at the Rumble. I mean, the fans were behind Sid.
Yeah. He eliminated Hogan, didn't he?
And they
liked it.
They cheered so much that they had to edit it, I guess. Or
yeah.
Didn't they to change it? Yeah.
Sid was really impressive. I remember seeing Sid as a kid thinking, my God, what is this? Who is this guy? What species is he? You know, the physique, the height, that hair. Yeah, you never saw hair like that. Like blonde like that, curly like that, the big mullet thing he had going. The look in his eyes. He was a unique character. He had a look, man.
And when you think about it, he wrestled the best of the best. I mean, he wrestled Sting, he wrestled Hogan, he wrestled Bret, he wrestled Shawn. Like, he wrestled all the top guys.
From what I understand, people seem to like working with him, too. He wasn't so bad.
No, it's just certain people didn't like him, and certain people tried to bury him. So that was the problem. And he didn't like put up with crap, so that's why I think he left.
Well, rest in peace to Psycho Sid. Sid Justice. Love him. Love him. Sad
and another WCW wrestler that passed away, I think, this week, Viano 5 passed away, sadly.
Rest in peace to Viano 5. I don't have that many memories of him, unfortunately, compared to the memories I have of Psychotic Sydney.
I just remember it's not him. It was Viano 4 that broke his neck against Raven and Canyon. I don't know if you remember that incident where they did the pickup powerbomb into a neck breaker, and Viano 4 landed horribly and was just, it looked like he was paralyzed in the ring afterwards. But it was not, it was Viano 5 that passed away, not 4.
I don't even remember what you're talking about, so I really have no memories of either of the Vianos, really. Sorry, John.
That's okay. People that remember Nitro and remember horrific injuries, like the Buff Bagwell, like Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid wasn't on Nitro, but
Thunder, wasn't it?
If they remember, Buff Bagwell was Thunder. And
Sid too, wasn't he Thunder?
No, Sid was on the Sin pay-per-view, actually. That's when it happened. It was a four-way.
Yeah.
They showed it, I think, on Nitro, which is gruesome, and they shouldn't have done that, but they did, I think.
Yes. That was rough. Johnny, when is your next match? When can people see you?
Well, it was supposed to be tomorrow, but the show has been canceled, so that's not happening. So I think September 29th is coming up eventually. That'll be for Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling in Laval, 1000 Boulevard d'Avenir. Bell time at 4 p.m., and you can buy tickets at door, or you can DM Torture Chamber on Facebook or Instagram for tickets.
There you go. More info on everything Johnny North. Follow him on Twitter X at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. And we will be back on here tomorrow afternoon around 4 p.m. right after WWE's Bash in Berlin to recap all the action, give you our score on 10, tell you what happened, give you our match of the show, and all the good stuff that we do on the post shows for every WWE and AEW, premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. We cover it here on the Ringside Report Network. I want to thank all the members for checking in tonight. Jason Pete, Ray Cruz, Franco316, Leor, Angelo Contagonis, Harold Schneider, you are the Super Chat leader of the night. CSL Lauren as well. All the members checking in, all the supporters. Thank you to Harold Schneider once again for the Super Chat on the show tonight. Thank you to all the members who support over at join.ringsidereport.net and membership.ringsidereport.net. This is a viewer and listener supported channel, so we appreciate you guys supporting the channel. We will be back on here tomorrow afternoon for you to talk all the pro wrestling on the Bash in Berlin post show right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you